This is the heartbeat of human services, a peek into the inspiring stories of our community and all things DHS. Join us.
Hey everybody, I'm your host Janice Slagle for the podcast, The Heartbeat of Human Services. And today we have with us our very own Director of the Department of Human Services, Lito Murillo. Welcome, Lito.
Thank you, Jana. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, we're thrilled to have you. And we're having you kind of at your 1 year mark. So you've been with DHS just about a year. How's that feel?
It's pretty amazing. If you were to ask me easily 12 months ago, how fast this time would have been, I wouldn't have believed it, but it's gone really fast. Yeah.
Yeah. I was talking to another staff member who was telling me she loved the podcast and told her we were having you on, and she said, it's been a year already. Yeah, it goes by fast, but I guess that's a good thing that it's gone by fast because you're busy. Are you enjoying your job?
I am, and it's really been a profound kind of a journey just in this last year. And in terms of what I thought I knew, things that I've learned, it's just kind of exponentially grown. It's when you think about what we've done as an agency just in the last year, I'm pretty amazed at that alone, and I'm looking forward to what the future year has to come.
Yeah, I mean, going from an agency, you'd been a director of almost 12 years, right? That was a big transition. And you and I were chatting before we started that DHS is the biggest department in all of Kern County. So there's a lot going on here.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So I came from Aging and Adult Services, was director there for about 11 years. We have about a little over 200 employees. And yeah, it's when you come to an agency that has 1,800 plus employees, it's quite a swift change.
Yeah.
And the amazing thing is, yeah, we are the biggest kid on the block, and there's a lot of moving parts at this agency, but we're also dedicated, and that's what I found over the last year is it's amazing the heart and soul of this department and what we do in the community, and not just in our basic programs, whether you're talking about the eligibility program or the child welfare. We do so many things in the community, like we get donations from various organizations that we redistribute throughout the community to different other community-based organizations to help them with their respective constituents. It's not mandated. We're not required to do it, but we do it because it helps out other agencies. That goes from distributing food items to hygiene products. All that is part of our agency. Again, not mandated, but we believe in what we're doing, and that's why we do it.
I love that we get the donations, like for instance from one of the general dollar stores or families, I'm not sure which one.
Dollar General, yeah.
Dollar General, and we then distribute those at different events, and there's things like laundry soap and shampoo that we can give out to help people with their budget, right?
Sure, yeah. So we help out organizations like the Dream Center that obviously deals with foster youth that are either homeless or at risk of being homeless or just having issues in general. They come to the Dream Center, and there's a lot of items there that we provide that are donated to us by Dollar General and other organizations that we're able to help them, supplement what they do with their respective budgets.
Yeah, I love that we're sort of we are definitely a resource to the community in so many ways, and that's just one of them. So
right.
I appreciate that. And when you first came, I know you had sort of a mindset that you shared that you were going to learn and listen, right? How has that been? You've continued that sort of thinking through this time?
Yeah, absolutely. So, going back a year altogether, my main focus was really to kind of absorb and learn. I think a lot of that had to do with, again, just getting assimilated with the larger department. I think trying to understand, and with my history, obviously working from the department before, that helped me out considerably, but understanding that a lot has changed in 20 plus years, and
definitely
not only with the programs I was involved with, but the other programs I wasn't even involved with that I need to immerse myself with. And I really took that thought to heart, where learning and understanding the dynamics of the department and what goes on, the operations, was really going to be key to understanding if there's any good change we can make, and obviously operationally be more efficient. And that's really continuous. I don't necessarily think that's just a 1 year project. I think even going forward, there's going to be other items that come up that we will need more feedback and listening sessions from our respective staff to kind of understand how we can do things better. And there's some things that obviously as an organization, we have to make decisions on operationally that we think is best. But overall, I'm looking forward to really continuing to learn and listen to what our staff have to say.
That's such a good mentality to have, to learn and listen. I was watching CBS Sunday Morning. I love that show. And they were talking about how people talk too much and how it's easy for people to talk too much,
Right.
but we don't listen well. So that's such a good quality as a leader, and the listening sessions and understanding our staff and what they need, and then how we can help our community better. I think that's a really good tool.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And really, even like before coming over here, I remember succinctly telling the board, because, just in general conversation, there was 3 things I really wanted to tackle in just without obviously understanding the complexity of everything that was going on with the department. And really, first and foremost, I wanted to make sure we address pay. And then secondarily, workload, and then overall morale. And those are the 3 areas. And I could recall, again, 20 plus years back, starting as an eligibility worker, even working my way up towards other management positions, the consistent theme has always been the pay, the workload, and overall morale. And fast forward where we're at now, 2023, we're still talking about these 3 items because they are 3 of our major pain points. And so I'm happy to say, just in the last year, we have addressed the pay, salaries in general, where we had an agreement with the CEO and obviously the SEIU that we were able to increase pay in certain positions 10.5%, some as much as 20%, depending on differential pays for our most harder to recruit areas like ER and court intake. So those are the things, even though we got that established and we're continuing to work with the CEO and SEIU, we're continually always trying to address that. I don't necessarily think we're just done now that we got that addressed. Let's keep on moving forward. I think that's always going to be in the back of my mind in terms of one of the things we always need to continually focus on. And then talking to workload, when you talk about the workload in general, it's important to note that we obviously are dealing with the labor shortage, and that's the kind of sticking point where we're at right now, where we have challenges just like any other employer nationwide. It's a struggle because the labor force has shrunk, and that not that many people are in the labor force, but obviously employers are still looking continuously to fill their vacant positions, and we're in the same boat. So when we're trying to address pay and obviously workload, the labor shortage doesn't help. Fortunately or unfortunately, I think the economy is shifting, and I'm starting to think that there's more and more people coming back into the workforce, just sheerly because they can't meet the continuous pressures of inflationary pressures, family dynamics, and the 2 household incomes need to come back into play. When that happens, you'll have more and more people in the labor force, and that will help us with our labor shortage in hopes to fill vacancies, and then obviously help with our current workload situation. And then the 2 items altogether, there are 2 pillars, right? We're talking about salaries and wages, if you will, and then you're talking about workload in general, dealing with staffing shortages. All of those play into the last part of that pillar, which is overall morale. So yeah, trying to deal with those 3 things are 3 big ticket items, and it's not a one and done kind of concept. We're going to continue to deal with it as we move forward.
That's so good to hear. I know we just had a huge job fest in town, and when you're talking about the jobs, and I know that we had some positions filled, quite a few, but I think I heard over 100 people got jobs that day, which people are looking more now. There is more of an interest, so that's great. And I know our department is constantly, like you said, working on morale boosting. Some of the things I've heard are these listening sessions. So some of the assistant directors have listening sessions. Is there another area that you've seen we're physically focusing on to increase morale? I mean, of course, the increasing the salary, absolutely, that's going to affect morale. What other things are we doing to increase morale?
Yeah, I think it's a wide array of things, right? So you talked about the listening sessions, and those are big ticket items. I think sharing information in general is a big thing. This podcast is another way we distribute information. My hope is, well, obviously, if you're like listening to podcasts, like getting emails, like getting newsletters, we can facilitate a lot of the information sharing that way. And I think that helps people. Overall morale in general. The listening sessions are big for me. I've attended a couple of the assistant directors' listening sessions, and that's because obviously not only am I on the call, but obviously listening to what our staff are saying. So I remember just recently we were on a call that were saying, not a call, but just another informal meeting that we had with the lobby, for example. And one of the big things that they were kind of mentioning is they wish they had more security in a sense, because it's just the dynamics of what they're dealing with. They felt more secure if they had more security. So we obviously heard that, and the management team continually work with SIU, who used to be in the building, and I'm happy to say that they're going to be moving back to the building here. I don't have a timeline for that, unfortunately, but that's one of the things that our staff had asked for, and we're trying to look and address, and they'll probably be here before the end of the year, which is a great thing to have. They'll be stationed here to create a presence of security. The other thing we're working on that staff have asked for is park rangers, and so we're in negotiations right now with the General Services to see how we can acquire 2 park rangers to be stationed here at OC Sales 2. Again, all these are as a result of listening sessions that I was a part of, and staff made clear that this is something that they truly felt that we needed, and if we could address it, if there was fiscally and obviously made business sense, we are trying to do that as the best of our ability.
That's awesome. I'm sure that makes staff feel really good that you're hearing them and you're actually taking action.
I'm your co-host Allison, and I'm interrupting today's podcast to highlight a special opportunity on behalf of our Job Fest team. Lake Isabella Job Fest is happening on April 20th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. For more information, head to jobfestkern.com. If you'd like to join our team here at DHS, head to kerncounty.com under the Careers tab. Thank you for listening, and now back to the podcast.
I know some of the other tools I've seen us use are surveys, so people can give their input. Well, I'm working on something with the with the evaluation process, and we're asking staff to give input. So I love the listening sessions, and any way we can hear what they want, and then if there's a way to do it, making it happen. So with the park rangers, are they just stationed out there to kind of look over things, or is that what park rangers do?
Sure. So we will still have our security guards present there, our current Transwest security guards, and the park rangers will add an extra support to those security guards, and then in addition to that, SIU will also be available should anything arise. So and again, there's different layers to different things, and schedules obviously create havoc with regards to who's in the building, who's not, but having park rangers officially stationed here is going to be a really good presence to have as far as security.
Awesome. And so they have a little more authority than maybe the Transwest staff do. That's kind of the idea. Yeah.
And that's the idea. And there's certain things that we're trying to address as well. Obviously, everybody that works in this building in particular knows that we deal with phone vendors, and that's a continuous issue, obviously. And we're working with that, and we're hopes that having park rangers on staff, we can slowly work our way to obviously eliminating phone vendors in our property altogether. So it's one of those work in progress, but hopefully that's one of the things, one of the benefits or pluses of having them on board.
Yeah, I love that. And so for people who maybe are newer to our department or haven't, SIU stands for? Special
Investigations Unit. So they handle our investigations as it relates to welfare fraud. So we actually contract with the district attorney for 4 employees. So we're hoping that 2 out of the 4 will be stationed here. That's the whole concept.
And so they do the fraud. Do they also help with security if there's an issue, or more the fraud?
So in the past, that's kind of been one of the things that they've taken on, is just obviously help support any things that come around. They're not the main security. Obviously, we'll have Transwest deal with that.
Right.
And again, the layers will be our park rangers, and then ultimately, if additional support needs or for whatever reason, the park rangers is obviously occupied or needs additional support, they'll come in and help in that regard.
That's great. And so as our lobbies begin to open up more, it's nice to know that that's part of the process, having the security there and making everybody feel safe. And I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. And then it goes back to what we originally heard from our staff was, as we're thinking about operationally, obviously, providing more services to our clients, these are one of the things that we need to look at and address, which is safety. And we heard them loud and clear.
We want our staff to feel safe. And so hopefully with these changes, more we can continue to recruit more employees. And I know we did the HST video with you, which was aimed to reach people who might consider being an HST or a human service technician. And that seems to have increased the applicants. that was fun working on that video with you. You enjoyed that too, I guess, a little bit.
I did. Yeah, it was a new thing first for me,
Right.
obviously, and definitely love the fact that I was able to share my story in terms of how I came up in the eligibility ranks as well, and really as a way to kind of give people insight that are interested in the job, what the job entails, so that way, because one of the things that we try to be as upfront as possible with everybody is this is a difficult job. It's not for everybody, and we understand that, and that goes for our child welfare side too. And so that video really displayed a lot of that, and kind of got to why you would want to take this job and the people that you would help, and because there were stories shared in that video that really went a long way to say, well, aside from this being a job, there's a lot of good that can happen from it.
Right. And then I think also, like you said, you talking about you came in as an HST and promoted to director. So there's a lot of room once you get into the department to continue to grow and promote and do things like that. So that's a big part of why I've been here over 20 years, because there's a lot of great opportunities here.
So I've been fortunate to actually talk with our new eligibility classes and our new social worker classes. And I've shared with them my journey, not so much as just to share with them my journey, but just to express to them there's so many opportunities that even though you're starting as an eligibility or social worker, doesn't necessarily mean that's the exactly defined line. It's where you want to take your respective career. And if it's not within the department, then definitely within the county, because I even tell them that I could tell you that I have people that used to work here at Human Services that are at the CAO's office. There are deputy CAOs now, county administrative officers. There's fiscal staff. There's obviously a management staff in other areas of the county that you could work for, but they all started here at Human Services. So that's what I kind of try to share with the classes, is just that it's just the beginning, not far from the end. So
that's good. I know your family's very important to you, and you absolutely make sure that you're attending things for your children, and you have 2 kids, and one of them's a basketball player, right?
Right. Yeah. So my youngest, he's a junior at Liberty. He plays basketball, loves the sport, and our weekends are pretty much spent just taking him to his games, tournaments, and what have you. And we love it. We did the same thing for our oldest. Our oldest is 22. He's graduated now. He's got his biology degree. He's trying to get into a nursing field or physician assistance area. But we did that same thing for him in terms of he wanted to play basketball. He was going to high school, and we were very supportive of it. And we enjoy it. My wife and I, we look at this as like a sportscation kind of thing, where it's just part of the family vacation. Is all these
to go on the trips.
Sporting events. Yeah. And, as he turns to become a senior and graduates, and there's definitely going to be a bigger void to fill because we're so involved in their respective lives. So,
right.
yeah.
Do you have any pets?
I do. I have a golden doodle. His name is Milo.
Oh, I love that.
I got to tell you a quick story about Milo is when we first got Milo, he's an amazing dog, but I was the one that was saying, okay, guys, I told my wife and my kids, this is your dog. I don't want no part of it. I have no interest. I don't want to have time, and all the other things I would normally say because of just my schedule and everything. And it's been pretty profound to see him sitting on my lap, watching a football or basketball game. And I don't know how he did it, but
he's your dog.
He's my dog. He's absolutely in my heart, and love him to death.
That's great.
Yeah.
We love our pets.
No doubt. No doubt.
Lito, I so appreciate you coming on here and just kind of letting us know where things are at. I hope that this helps people who work here and people in the community just kind of understand our goals here as a department, and you a little bit better as a director. We have enjoyed having you here, and I think you're doing a great job. And so any last words of wisdom, or
I don't know if it'd be last words, but last words for the podcast.
From the podcast, yeah. Sorry,
yeah.
I didn't mean to phrase it like that.
So, yeah, I'm appreciative. Thank you, Jana, for having me on. I absolutely love these opportunities, and in my head right now, I'm God. There's a lot of things to share, and I don't know which one to push out first. And obviously, I shared what the 3 areas I focused on initially, and there'll be other areas as they continue to develop, but. In general, we've done a lot of things this year. We have addressed salaries. We added 68 positions in our budget last year, something that we haven't done in years. Huge. And these are all promotional opportunities that other people obviously can increase their respective salaries because they're sliding into promotions. We'll continue to do that in the years to come. We've obviously talked about the park rangers and that kind of thing.
Yeah. Oh, I know, Lito. I forgot to mention this. So we were talking about aging an adult.
Yeah.
And how that is something you've talked with our board of supers about potentially being something we work together, or we kind of merge our agencies.
Sure.
But yet, you want to talk about that a little bit?
For sure. Yeah,
okay.
thank you for that.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that obviously coming from Aging and Adult Services and being the department head over there for 11 years, the board felt very comfortable with my ability to run that department. And then when I moved over here to Human Services, that was always something that was always a potential as far as could we both have Aging and Adult Services and Human Services under one director. And so we're kind of moving in that direction. I don't have a timeline per se, but that's definitely something that we've been talking about. I've spoken with Commission on Aging. I've spoken with our exec team. These are one of the things that we could look at to obviously help support one another as far as the social service agency goes. When you think about what we do, we collaborate now to a large degree. When we have an older adult that may have Medi-Cal issues, we're involved, or it might have a child welfare issue, we're involved. So we have a lot of clients in common. And so merging the two departments will really help facilitate just more uniformity in terms of how we can provide services together.
I love that. And just the communication flow between the two
Absolutely.
agencies. And we in Outreach hope we can help message for them too. So I think it's a great partnership, and we're excited about that change.
Yeah, and as we kind of go towards this process, I mean, this is kind of the early discussions we've had. We don't have, again, I don't even have final dates and what have you, but I'll definitely share it with our staff because I think it is important. One of the things that I do want to mention in terms of just information sharing, I think a lot of people think that transparency means, well, they need to know right now, right here. And it's a challenge because there's so many things that are happening within our department right now that obviously because everything's still being developed and fresh and nothing's concrete, it's hard to share right away. I try to share as much and as quickly as possible, but that always is a point in time kind of thing where when it's available and I'm fairly comfortable that's going to happen, I'd love to share it. Because otherwise, if I share something, it doesn't come to fruition, I'm like egg on my face and everything else. So
that makes
really,
sense.
in terms of transparency and everything else, I absolutely want to share as quickly as possible as I can. But I just really want to make sure on my end that we're able to deliver.
That makes sense.
But I also wanted to extend my gratitude to you, Jana, and your team, Paola, and everyone else. It's amazing how you guys have really evolved the outreach team and what you guys do in our community and the recognition you give our department in terms of just not only notoriety, but just the positive aspect of what we do as a department. So I want to thank you guys, Allison, obviously, and you guys did an amazing job as an outreach team and do an amazing job for our department in terms of not only getting the word out, but definitely putting the positive light in terms of what we do as an agency. So thank you guys.
Thank you for saying that. We love what we do. We're proud of our department. So I'm glad that it's showing.
Yeah, absolutely.
We really are proud of it. So thank you so much, Lito, for being our guest today.
It's my pleasure.
We are excited for what the next year holds.
Me too. and I'm hoping to do this another year from now and hope to be able to share all kinds of great information.
We're holding you to it.
Right on.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Welcome to today's Mindful Minute, where we will be talking about pets. As an animal lover, it sparked a mindful minute in my head when our director, Lito, said he loved spending time with his golden doodle. Which leads me to say there's actually a study out there that says playing with a dog, cat, or other pet can elevate levels of serotonin and dopamine, which can help calm and relax us. I myself have a German Shepherd and find giving him scratches and the biggest hugs can cheer me up any day. So today when you get home, make sure to give your overly excited dog a hug. And for those cat people, you can try to force a hug with your cat, but good luck. This has been your Mindful Minute.
Thank you for joining us for the Heartbeat of Human Services podcast today. We hope you'll join us next time.